What up? What up? What up? Strike League Podcast, man. This episode number 92. On this episode, E-Sig come back. Hopefully, I ain't trying to put no business in the street, but hopefully, for the long haul, it's all on him. 2 episodes in a row is a good sign, though. Nick and the homie Sean Rocket come back. It's been a little while since he been with us. We're talking the recent DC news that came out a lot longer than I expected to, and we're talking Predator franchise due to the release of the prequel Prey that just came out. I put up a Twitter poll question asking you guys which is your favorite Predator sequel. I included the Alien vs. Predator movies. So, Predator 2, Predators, The Predator, AVP, or AVPR were the choices. Predators, the Robert Rodriguez produced Predators wins with 46.2%. Predator 2, again, shout out Stephen Hopkins. Well, I guess the way this is going to get edited together, shout out Stephen Hopkins. Again, Predator 2 got 38.5%. The Predator and the AVP movies both got 7.7. I feel like the AVP vote might have been troll votes, but we're gonna leave it at that. On to I guess theatrically released movies over the past couple weeks. DC League of Super Pets came out to the theaters the weekend after the last episode, and Not Okay with Zoe Dutch is on Hulu. This past weekend, a whole butt ton of movies came out. Honestly, I'm not gonna remember them all, so I'll say 13 Lives, directed by Ron Howard, I believe was on Prime Video. They Them is on Peacock. Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie, was on Netflix. Bullet Train was in theaters. Prey, the main topic for this episode, is on Hulu. Easter Sunday was in theaters. Bodies came out. What I thought was wide, but I think it was only a 6-episode release. A 6 theater release. So maybe that'll be wide next weekend. Maybe I'll have a chance to see it next weekend. That's the hope. And then there's probably 30 other movies I forgot came out this past weekend. Upcoming is the question, because I don't know. That movie Fall, that looks like it's in a big I don't know, internet phone signal tower, I think is coming out next weekend. And then the weekend of the 19th, Beast with Idris Elba comes out. I'll watch that if I can. And then theatrically is what we just talked about. Blu-ray and 4K releases. The Tuesday of the last weekend in July. We got Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, The Lost City, and there was another big-ish release that Tuesday. Green Lantern, Beware My Power, the most recent DC animated release. So this past Tuesday, we got nothing. I didn't buy anything on August 2nd. It looks like Cal came on Blu-ray. Is that A24? I'm not even 100% positive. Yeah, this was an oddly quiet Tuesday with nothing to buy. This upcoming Tuesday, though, we got Crimes of the Future, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. It looks like Heat and Event Horizon are getting a 4K. Men from Alex Garland is coming on Blu-ray. That Harry Potter reunion that was on HBO Max looks like it's getting a Blu-ray. Paramount is putting Down to Earth and Domestic Disturbance on Blu-ray when they were supposed to last month. Vivo, the Sony animation movie they got put on Netflix, is coming out this upcoming Tuesday. I think I said this past Tuesday 4 times. if I end up with that fucking Walmart exclusive Sonic. The Tuesday before the next episode, it looks like the Black Phone is coming out. Jurassic World Dominion might be coming out the 16th of August. South Park, what is this? Season 24 is getting a Blu-ray. Coneheads, What Women Want, What's Eating Gilbert Grape are all getting Paramount upgrades. And it looks like that will about do it. So yeah, man, yeah. I'm gonna come back. We gonna be 4 deep on the panel. We gonna talk some DC news. A lot of fears on my end, I ain't gonna hold you. And then the Predator franchise. If you haven't seen Prey, don't watch this shit yet, because we're talking spoilers. And then after that, I'm gonna rap something for y'all, man. It's Rec League Podcast. All right, we back. 4 Horsemen riding again. Got your boy Del Rio by way of Indianapolis, the Richmond Goodmans, Chicago. What up? I'm gonna get this wrong, but I want to say Minnesota by way of Brooklyn, or the opposite, something like that. Rocket, what up?
Nope. What's up?
Ain't seen you in a minute. How you been?
Pretty good. Everything good?
As good as can be. We don't edit in post, Eric.
Immediately.
Yeah. The iPad, like you said, out of my element.
he getting ready for the Bears season, fumble in the bag already.
No comment.
Bro, like I had like news before we got into the main discussion. Should we talk about the DC circus?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Why not?
Nick, you reacted first.
Same reaction. Like, no.
Nick, you reacted first, so talk.
No. I don't know. It's so much. I feel like there's been like.
Nope was universal.
There's been like weeks and weeks worth of DC news in like 3 days. Like
there has.
It was like an elapsed 3-day window, and it feels like it's been months of like some kind of fallout for something that has not even happened. Like I was like, you get on Twitter, and everybody's talking like all this stuff has happened already. Like they're like, we are losing original content, yada yada, and like nothing's happened other than like they took off some of those like movies that they did on HBO Max.
Yeah, I want to say like what's confirmed. Great. Batgirl shelved, and yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, that's all I've said. Like everybody's talking about the Supergirl movie is likely to get canceled. I'm like,
likely,
maybe it is likely, but also like the cameras have not even started rolling on that. Like it's not like they made that movie. Like that would suck, but it's also like everybody's like, oh my god, this is a nightmare. And I'm like, they have not even spoken on this yet.
I didn't even realize they announced the Supergirl movie. Like, I know she's in the Flash.
Yeah, I forgot that as well. Also, like
they had a conference call. Like, I guess the new like Warner Discovery guy, and I guess he like verbally said like Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman are like the premier DC franchises.
Yeah, which, duh, that's kind of like been the thing anyway. Even when like it's struggled to be the thing, it's still kind of been the thing, other than Superman, really.
Yeah.
But like, you know, it's like we know that. But I don't know if it's like, why are you canceling movies that are already
What
made?
about the Blue Beetle? Is that filmed?
It's filming. It might be.
It's probably like a couple weeks behind Batgirl. Honestly, like they were filming like in between Cobra Kai seasons. Dude got cast as Blue Beetle, and as far as I know, it's still like slotted for August, right after Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, from what I've read, Blue Beetle's still a go, and it's going to be a theatrical release only.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Blue Beetle wraps filming July 18th in Puerto Rico. So.
And now they're waiting.
Already talking like it's that's canceled. Blue Beetle's done.
Yeah.
I mean,
girls don't. And I'm like, they haven't said anything.
y'all know Twitter though. Twitter hears one piece of news and then all the dominoes are falling without any confirmation.
Yeah.
It's nuts to be on Twitter like when something like this happens. Like it's crazy to just be on there and like you read all this stuff and then so you have to remind yourself like, oh, like we said in the thing I came in and I was like, I haven't seen any actual news source talk about any of this HBO Max stuff until they actually had their what was like quarterly review thing. Like I said, this is all like hearsay as far as like somebody said something and everyone ran with it.
And when they originally announced the Discovery merger with Warner, Time Warner, whatever, I like in the back of my head, I don't think I ever said anything to anybody. Like I knew, I was like, okay, like my wife loves all that reality TV shit. I got superhero DC stuff on HBO Max. If they're owned by the same parent company, they're eventually gonna combine. Like I thought that was common sense. People are reacting like DC, Discovery is just gonna erase all like the movies and shows that Warner has put on there. There's gonna be like a hybrid. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's like a Disney bundle situation, I think we'll be able to access all of that.
See, and what I read too is the CEO of Discovery, David Zaslav. What I've heard is that it's like people getting confused. You had HBO, then you have HBO Max, and at the time they had HBO Now and HBO Go.
Yeah.
So the way they were running it, you know, Warner Brothers at the time was you got 4 different versions of HBO, but there was 4 different people running each department, which is dumb. What he's doing is he's condensing it all down to where one person is going to run all the HBO stuff. And from that point on, what they're going to do is yes, they pulled certain things off. Like, so I think HBO Max originals, like The Witches. And I think what they're doing is not that they're not going to put them back on. It's just they're pulling those off because those were originally for HBO Max.
Yeah.
Like the Batgirl situation was, from what I read, was they were putting $70 million into this movie to go streaming. You're not going to recoup your $70 million if it's on streaming. So it's what he's trying to say is that it's either we go all in or we don't go in at all. And from what I read also is there were execs at Warner Brothers who saw this movie and they said it was terrible, like terribly bad. And it's like to the point of like they'd rather get the tax write-off and all that. Like I hope they do make a Batgirl movie in the future and some of the same cast gets rehired. If you're going to do it right, he's saying we're going to do it right and we're going to go in all in.
That sounds better for business. Like, to me, like, these dudes directed Bad Boys for Life. Good. Not a game changer by any stretch of the imagination.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I'm all for inclusion. People react like these dudes deserve, I don't know, Secret Wars, Kang Dynasty, whatever. But also, like, let's get the best product possible. If Batgirl was ass, it was ass because of their direction, right?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like hopefully they fall ass backwards into another good situation. But if Batgirl just wasn't it,
no. I still like. Maybe I'm just naive. I just struggle with like how bad could it have really been that they called it irredeemable?
No worse than the theatrically released Suicide Squad.
That's what I'm saying. Like the Suicide Squad they put out was like they were like, thank God we redeemed that, and then they gave us that, like the the Joker and Harley Quinn on the helicopter. Like I don't know, and like I don't even hate Suicide. I'm just saying like that was they were like, don't worry guys, we said it like the
it wasn't worse than Justice League exactly.
Like, thank God we saved that mess with the Cranian family or whatever.
It's also new leadership.
Yeah, I know.
It could be. I think that the movie, like I said in the group, so y'all telling me these what's the guy's name? The directors Bilal and I forget the other one.
Sure.
So they made Bad Boys for Life.
Miss Marvel was good, whatever their involvement with that was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like Nick is saying, I just can't believe to the degree that they're saying this movie was that bad. I mean, you telling me no producers were on the set, nobody was looking at dailies, nobody was monitoring the movie as it was filming, but not the studio screening, but a regular audience test screening is what did this.
I don't think they're convincing Michael Keaton or even Brendan Fraser to be in this if it's that bad.
Yeah, and and that too. And I think it could be them trying to save face that this new regime is coming along, and they're trying to go with a new, I think, Rocky, you said them to just write it off because movies are protected with insurance and write-offs, and that they're probably, I don't know, trying to restore the Snyderverse, but they just want to go in a different direction than what Hamada and the other knuckleheads were going in, because these are their movies. For the most part, the Batgirl, even the Aquamans and all that, but those are the bigger movies, and I think they gave those directors a little more free reign. But Batgirl is just supposed to be coming after the Flash. The events in Batgirl are from the Flash, so I think that has a lot to do with that. But I don't think this movie is that irredeemable. I mean, I always take when studios say that with a grain of salt, even though it's a different regime, because this is the same company that said Zack Snyder's Justice League was unwatchable.
Definitely wasn't.
Yeah.
I watched it for sure.
Twice.
Even a movie, like, even if it is bad, I'm just still, it's like I've just been into movies for so long. It's like I don't care that much. It's like I feel like we talked about this. It's like I remember when it was like superhero movies.
Yeah.
It was like, cool, we're getting a Punisher movie. It was like, who cares if it's like great? You're just like,
you talking about the Dark Ages when we were just happy
like,
the properties were being used.
I'm like, but like all these movies, it's like they did that with New Mutants. It took like, what was that, like 3-4 years for it to come out? Like,
and they didn't change anything.
No.
Abominable thing, and test audiences rioted, and I was saying, like, it came out and it was fine. Like, it wasn't horrible.
Better than Morbius.
It was just like, here you go. Like Morbius, everybody, like, Morbius is like the punchline. If we're all being honest with it, like, Morbius wasn't god awful. It just was not good.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, it was not a good movie in the age where every superhero movie is like, has to be like a game changer on some level. It was just Morbius. So I'm like, if we put out Batgirl and it's just Batgirl, like, what's the worst?
No harm, no foul.
Like, I immediately said, like, I think it has to do with the Flash. Like, they want to establish Michael Keaton in the Flash, and they have no idea when the Flash is coming.
Right.
I agree with that. And also, like, I think, like you were saying, Nick, Morbius, I think there was a better movie in there. I think with, the pandemic hitting and that was supposed to come out before certain movies and vice versa. I think them having all that extra time on their hands, they had to chop it up a certain way to make it make sense. So it kind of like, whether the movie was good or bad to begin with, I think it just made it worse.
Yeah.
And it's like characters that's come, like y'all all saw the little girl just disappeared from the movie. That one that was in the hospital. I don't know if y'all remember that.
Like Keenan and Kel, I'm like, little girl? I'm trying to remember the little girl.
There was a little girl in Morbius?
Oh, man, the patient.
Oh, yeah.
The one you treating in the beginning. Y'all don't even remember. The one you treated.
She had a similar disease as him, right?
Yeah, and she just disappeared after
that.
See, that's my point. Y'all just forgot about her, just like the movie.
I didn't even hate Morbius. Like, I thought we're like...
Dude, that's Sony. Sony doesn't care.
I thought it was like...
Sony just wants to milk Spider-Man.
And, oh my God, the what's the name? Michael Keaton is everywhere, ain't he? The Vulture scene is so obviously ADR, and Jared Leto was not there. Like, what do you say? Intriguing. It's like, oh my God.
Intriguing.
Dude,
that was just so horrible.
It's like Sony sat Michael Keaton down, probably with Warner on a conference call. They both said the words multiverse, and he was like, sounds cool, I'm in.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, this too now is like, we all heard Ben Affleck is coming back for Aquaman 2, and it's like, me personally, I wanted to see this Flash movie come up is I want to see Michael Keaton come back.
Yeah.
As Batman. I think a lot of people want to see that.
Oh yeah.
But also now with what Ezra Miller's doing, who knows where he's at, and all this crazy stuff, what they're doing,
Dude, he's on
with
Mars.
the merger. I mean, Keaton made his money. They paid him for everything he's done. But, like, I think if that Flash movie doesn't come out, it's there'll be a lot of disappointed fans, but it's not from what, I've read and people have seen, like, screenings of it. They're saying it's not a bad movie. It's pretty good. So I think they're going to try to put that out there, make as much as what they can make off that movie.
Yeah.
Like, some money is better than no money. But at the end of the day, it's like, I hope that one out of everything does come out, because I know Keaton is in that one.
Yeah.
These other projects, like he was supposed to be in Batgirl, that got canceled. I guess he was supposed to make an appearance in Aquaman 2. Affleck is coming in for that. So now it's like, I just hope that one, if anything, that's the one project that does not get canceled.
Yeah.
I think that's why there's so much struggle, because that's like a $200 million like tentpole DC project, and they don't know what to do with it. Like they are doing everything but saying we don't know what to do with this because of all the stuff with Ezra Miller.
Right.
Like it's not even like Aquaman with Amber Heard. Like everybody says, well, I will not be going. They're gonna go if they want to go. Like she's not Aquaman. Like Ezra Miller is the Flash. Like you can't like read.
It's a real unique problem.
Yeah,
like Rockin' saying, the movie is testing well.
Yeah,
but it's just the star is who the star of the movie is.
You can sell Aquaman and not put Amber Heard on the poster. You must put Ezra Miller on the Flash merchandise.
Flash on his poster. It's like Fantastic Beasts. They had it underperformed. Whatever, that was kind of expected, and they started acting like, well, look at who's in it. And I said Ezra Miller was not even like on the poster. Like people didn't even know Ezra Miller was in Fantastic Beasts, and he's been in all three.
Right.
So I was like,
that was a J.K. Rowling and her bullshit issue too.
Yeah, that and
the Johnny Depp stuff, and like that movie was cursed to begin with.
Yeah, but that's again like, I don't think the expectations.
It's still Warner Brothers though.
Like that, even though that's a big property for Warner Brothers. That was kind of like, this is the last one we're probably doing. Let's just. But I thought it was pretty good overall, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Right. So what?
Flash.
I still went
like
for
the Flash. Like they're. I mean, I think the hopes for the future of the Flash were still huge, even like a year ago. Like they were like, oh well, obviously we're gonna put this out. It's gonna change up the DC world and to be great, and like now they don't know what to do with it. And it's like $200 million plus, and like they don't know what to do. Like they can't just like put it on streaming and be like, here, like that. Like they don't know what to do, and it's frustrating.
Yeah,
I mean, like going back to like we were saying, Batgirl. I think they put $70 million to put it just on HBO Max. They say if they want to do a theatrical, they would have to put another 20 to 50 million in. And I'm like,
they're not making
now
that
you're
back.
pushing 90 to 120, and that's more than what you want to do. And from like the way it's testing, is not doing very well.
And then marketing,
and it's like that's not, what I mean. For that, you like that's like I said, get the tax write off, get what you recoup from that, and what I mean. It's I think with Zaslav, this guy, like I said, he. From what I read and heard about him, in the sense of with Discovery, you have like your, the Property Brothers and all this and that, like all these channels that Discovery owns. He has a CEO in each one of those that runs that one. So I think that's what he's trying to do with HBO, and now Warner Brothers, it's its own studio now. So I think they're trying to implement that. Like, I mean, they brought this guy Alan Horn, who just left Disney to retire. They just brought him back out again. And, like, don't let that fool you. I could see him, not that he's going to take it, but I could see him offering someone like Kevin Feige to come in and run Warner Brothers. I mean, with that whole Bob Chapek stuff at Disney, he's not a people person over there, and he's been dissing talent and all that. Remember, Feige has, in numerous times, said that Alan Horn is his mentor. So, I mean, it's getting real interesting to see what happens.
I think they announced they had a 10-year plan.
Yeah.
But like is this like the first time that they've openly compared it to Disney's
maybe
Marvel?
They finally did like similar to what they're doing over there.
Mm-hmm.
It's about time.
You've been doing this for 10 years, and now you're finally acknowledging, like, okay, yeah, we want to make it work like that.
They should have had this plan when Green Lantern came out and crashed and burned.
It's like, this has been the plan all along. It's like it took 3 years after Man of Steel for Batman vs. Superman to come out. Like, you didn't even have that written.
No.
It's okay. It's okay to admit that, but like, at least do it.
And like,
do it.
And like Eric was saying, you know, with Hamada and all them guys, remember with the Justice League with Joss Whedon, I agree. They were trying to get their bonus checks because if that movie came out before the end of the year, they got their money. And I guess
that's what it's all about, right?
Whedon and that crew was pleading with them, we need more time. And they didn't give them that time. So, I mean, and for them to say...
So we got Dostoevsky.
was unwatchable. And then you see what we got.
Yeah.
I mean, that thing was fantastic.
Yeah.
So I think that was their way to,
Snyder,
you know...
he was probably the closest they had to having a multiple movie plan.
Yep.
Because you see the ending for his version of his Zack Snyder's Justice League. I mean, them staring back at each other with like, man, like, come on, you want to see another movie?
Yes.
And then Doomsday, like, we'll use the old ways. Like, come on, man. To end on that, but yeah, it's a shame that we'll probably never see what could have been.
I agree.
And even with Suicide Squad, David Ayer, a lot of stuff, because there's like pictures coming out where, not Darkseid, but who's the other one? His minion, who's the main
Steppenwolf.
Steppenwolf. Supposedly Steppenwolf had made a cameo appearance in David Ayer's version of Suicide Squad or something, but
yeah, like David Ayer was always on part, like he was always like riding with Snyder, like he was always bouncing off what Snyder's story was going to be. So
yeah, there was a plan in there, but the studio didn't care about it. They just, like Rocket said, we just want the monies. That's all.
Yep. Yeah.
Dude, the way that conference call sounded, I have a feeling that they're going to end up recasting like everybody. They're going to start from scratch and recast everybody.
Yeah, it's a shame. And I think they got the power to bring, if I was running the studio, and of course we all know what we're doing, I would just recast Ezra Miller, like, Grant, get over here.
Yeah, they just canceled the Flash show, multiverse that shit, and now he's the movie Flash. Like, that's the quick fix. Because it will work in how the Flashpoint operates within the universe. Him changing how he looks, if they want to acknowledge it, wouldn't be far-fetched at all.
And you also got to remember, on the Flash show, Ezra Miller made an appearance.
Yeah.
They met each other.
True, yeah.
So basically, that's an. I mean, they could be a post-credit scene or mid-credit scene, or however you want to do it, or even at the end of the movie, where something happens and it just changes the whole time. Look, they're bringing back they're trying to bring back Michael Keaton, you know. But at the end of the day, you know, that's an easy, quick fix. That's a one-shot scene thing. That if they want to go that route, it shouldn't cost much. I mean, like you were saying, Eric, if I was running the studio, you got to do. I would basically, like, I know there's multiple Batmans and all this other stuff, but I would say give Ben Affleck a blank check and be like, write me your Batman versus Deathstroke movie, and you got to bring my boy back, Henry Cavill. That's the one thing. I mean, you got to bring back Cavill as Superman.
Yeah.
It's like, I always quit that movie, Thank You for Smoking, when they're talking about, like, they're smoking the cigarette. You'd be like, you can't smoke a cigarette in space. You'd be like, oh, that's a quick fix. We'd just be like, thank God we have the whatever device. And like, thank God we have the multiverse. And like, they just switch. That's what Days of Future Past did. They were like, let's make it like the last stand never happened.
Basically.
But, it's like, Ben Affleck, you know, said he was leaving, and he said he was coming back for the Flash. That was over 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That was like 2020, maybe 2019. I was at a different job when I was sitting in my car reading that news. Like I was like, oh, cool, fuck yeah, finally. And like, it hasn't happened yet. Everybody's like, he's back, baby. And I'm like, I have not seen him as Batman in 5 years, except for the Snyder cut. But I'm like, you know, he's
that he came back for additional shooting for that.
Yeah.
Aquaman is not out. They pushed it back.
Fly on the wall, man. Because about the Henry Cavill. So Dwayne Johnson's ex-wife runs his company with him, and she's also Henry Cavill's agent.
Yep.
I'm like, man, what? Y'all gotta be.
I did not know that until this moment.
The Rock's
Danny
trying.
Garcia.
The Rock's
Danny
trying.
Garcia is her name.
I didn't know that at all. That's true?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. It's his ex-wife, and they're still good friends and all that. It's crazy.
Yeah.
how that
Running
works.
XFL together.
Yep.
Yeah, they run $7 Productions.
Why can't they get that?
That's what I'm saying.
Right? Like,
There's gotta be some kind of Henry Cavill must have some kind of Me Too issue or some shit that's trying to get covered. Because like everybody, like you even the unnamed Twitter user who everybody talks, she will remain unnamed. She's always talking about as I've said before, Henry Cavill will not be back for reasons that Warner Brothers knows about. And I'm like, did he murder somebody? Like, what did he do? What did they have with Cavill that he's like, hey, I'll go do The Witcher. Hey, what did he do? I'm going to look into this.
The Rock is like 2 months.
All these other franchises, like you said, The Witcher, the Niola Holmes, or whatever that's called.
Close enough.
Yeah. And there's a third one out there. I think he's
Granola.
I wouldn't mind seeing. Yeah.
Here's a crazy stat. I just looked it up just to make sure. The Flash, the CW version of the Flash TV show, aired in 2014. I think a couple of episodes were in when they finally announced the Flash movie in 2014. Yep. So they have now run almost 9 seasons of the TV show to its entirety, and this movie has still not come out yet.
That's DC. That's Warner Brothers, and they're trash. Like, let's say this, and not because that original announcement had movies for every major hero: Cyborg, Green Lantern. We ain't seen none of that shit.
That was before the full crap.
They announced like an individual movie for like every Justice League character, and then as movies were coming out and hitting, like it's easy to forget. Suicide Squad was a big hit.
Despite
and people liked it when it came. Like audiences were like, yeah, that was dope. Like we make fun of it now, but when it was in theaters, people went and saw it and liked. And when it hit at the box office, they were like, well, there's going to be a Jared Leto Joker movie. There's going to be a Harley Quinn movie. There's going to be a Joker and a Harley Quinn movie. There's going to be a Deadshot movie. There's going to be and Suicide Squad 2, Suicide Squad 3. Like they were like announcing it over and over, and it was like, well, how about another like a Man of Steel 2? And they were like, nope. There's going to be a Cyborg, a Teen Titans movie, a Teen Titans versus the Justice League, a Justice League 2, a Justice League 3, and it was like the Aquaman hit. We're going to do the Trench. We're going to do Aquaman 2.
Bro.
We're going to do Aquaman 3. Trench 2. It's like, what are you saying? Like, to have a cohesive, you don't have to shock Marvel completely, but like have a cohesive idea of when things are coming.
They still kind of haven't stopped that, because when The Rock on Monday posted those post-credit scenes from Super Pets, he said something about a Super Pets universe and a Black Adam universe.
Oh my gosh.
We are forever changing the game.
And he's 2 months from becoming like the face of DC.
It'll never be the same. And I'm like, I'll bet it's the same. It's been the same for like at least 10 years. I'll bet it's the same. And it's like we've been calling this. Like if we really look back, it's like I just said, we've all kind of been talking. At least me and Randy, it's like we've all kind of been conversing over this. Really since it took off in like 2016 with Batman vs Superman, Suicide Squad, and then Wonder Woman after that. It's like everybody has kind of been saying that, like as they were announcing movies like crazy. That's 6 years, and everybody's like, don't do that. This is going to implode. But in the back of our heads, it's almost like we're thinking like, well, what do we know? We don't work at the studio. And it's like it's happened. It's like it's happened.
Mhm.
Like it took like a year, maybe 2 years, and it like totally happened the way we all said. Like it fell apart, like because they don't know what they're doing. Anyway,
Yeah.
I mean, the way I see it too, Nick, like Nick said it, these are things we've been saying for the last couple of years, and now it's coming to fruition. It's like, I ain't no Einstein, but I mean, it's like nowadays, I feel like people that are in charge, they try to make it more complicated to look smarter, to make themselves look smarter. And at the end of the day, it's just common sense. It's like A plus B equals C, and they're trying to make it all complex. And it's like, now granted, they know what they're doing, we're not in there and all that. But at the end of the day, it's, when they announced, Justice League, I thought Justice League should have been the first movie to come out, in the sense of you get this all-star cast, and then you individually do an Aquaman movie or a Man of Steel 2 movie. Remember, Ben Affleck was Batman, and he didn't even get his own movie.
Nah.
That's like, how
That hurts my heart.
Trinity. You got the Trinity of Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman. And at the end of the day, Wonder Woman has 2 movies out. You have a Man of Steel movie that basically started all this, and it doesn't even got a sequel technically. Even though they say Batman vs Superman, what was the sequel? That's not a sequel.
Nah.
And then you got bringing a guy like Affleck, who's awesome actor, played awesome Batman role and Bruce Wayne, and at the end of the day, he doesn't even get a chance to have his own movie. To me, that makes no sense.
Yeah, good, and he's also a good filmmaker.
Yeah. I mean, look at Argo. Look what he did with Argo.
Yeah.
like I thought Live by Night was a good movie. Like even when I saw that, like he could throw some of that style into his own Batman.
Yes.
Really kick ass.
And of course, the heist movie. I'm brain farting.
The Town.
The Town.
Yeah.
The Town,
Gone Baby Gone.
The Town is so good, I could die. I think The Town is his best movie. And
Affleck hasn't missed.
I agree.
He's got 4 movies and hasn't missed.
Yeah, it's a fact. I thought Live by Night was really good. Like it just did not really connect with critics. But I was like, this dude, the Academy Award winner, multiple Academy Award winning filmmaker.
Yeah, it's
I'm like,
true.
Let's not. Nothing against the Batman. I thought the Batman was great.
Yeah.
But it was still, as I said before it even came out, I was like wary of it. I was like, this is kind of indicative of like how they have no direction over there. They're just like, well, here's the Batman movie. And it was great. But I still never shook that feeling. I was like, it's still like, here's another Batman movie while we figure out what's going on over here. Here's a Joker 2, I guess, because we still don't know what's going on over here.
Right.
And I think, Nick, you hit it on the head, too. It's like, when I saw The Batman with Pattinson, that's my Batman. That's how I want to see Batman. Detective, gritty, grimy. And now, because they don't know what's going on over there, it's like, whichever version, whether it's Affleck or Keaton, that's like the cartoonish Batman. Like, this is the one we do for these movies, but if you want to get down and gritty now, we're going to do this. It's like, it's confusing. And like, we know what's going on, but say a casual moviegoer, they got like 40 different Batmans. They're like, which one is which? Like, they don't know what's going on.
Yeah, like, it's insane that we're about to have 2 Harley Quinns.
No, yeah.
3, if you count the cartoon show that it's like on, and very wonderful. If anybody is listening has not watched the Harley
and
Quinn
people
show,
definitely are confused. I think I sent y'all the tweet when it was announced that Affleck was coming back in Aquaman. Somebody tweeted like, I don't know why they didn't keep Robert Pattinson. I like him as Batman.
Yeah. It's like,
and people try, like, as much as we bash normies on here, people try. Like, most people, sometimes just like they don't. It's not something they devote their lives to, but it's like they try to figure out what's going on. It's like, oh, so he's a new Batman, and it's like something like this. It's like you gotta give them the benefit of the doubt a little bit. It's like, it's confusing. Yeah, it does. You're right. It does make no sense that there's 3 Batmen right now, and they don't know what to do with them. But I mean, I don't know. That sums it up, I guess. It's like, but
Ready to switch it up?
Yeah. That was episode.
All right. Yeah. Now for the topic at hand. Rec League Predcast. Prey came out. Hey, I'm good with dad jokes and quips. Prey came out this weekend on Hulu. I wanted to talk about every Predator movie.
Oh, okay.
So y'all want to go movie by movie or just talk or?
I'll do Alien versus Predator. Head to head for both franchises. That wouldn't be any more fun than just talking about the Predator movie. I think Alien wins though. I think I've come to that conclusion.
No.
Start from the beginning.
I think it does. I think Alien has two masterpieces.
Oh.
I don't know if there's any masterpieces in the Predator franchise.
No,
Maybe
man.
I agree with
but I
that.
don't.
But Predator franchise has never had, like, if we're equal, like, the closest the Predator movies have had is McTiernan and Trachtenberg.
Mm-hmm.
That's their Ridley and James Cameron.
Yeah, that's true. But I would also argue that outside of the two spinoffs, there isn't a Predator movie that's like shitty either.
No.
So like, yeah, maybe it's more of a toss-up. Because there's at least one Alien movie that's shitty. Maybe two. I would say one.
One for sure.
Yeah.
But most people would say two.
You know what's crazy though?
I feel like
When like the famous like YouTube guys were doing their like worst of the year in 2017, I remember somebody saying like Alien Covenant was like the worst movie of that year, and I thought it was insane. I kind of love Alien Covenant.
That's nuts. Alien Covenant's cool. I had to rewatching those like after. It's like Prometheus kind of kicks ass. Like
I
saw
really
the
like
theater,
Prometheus.
Cool. But on rewatches, like every time I've watched Prometheus, I've been like, this movie kind of rules. Like I kind of get why that movie like ages well. And then like Covenant was a cool follow up.
I read the other day that the like Strauss brothers Strauss or whatever, had like plans for an AVP 3 and thought that they were gonna like connect it to the original Alien. Or were we talking about that the other day?
I said it's almost like they tried to do that with the first AVP, but it was more confusing than anything. With the Bishop, Lance Henriksen played a dude with the name Bishop in his name, and he was like the head of, what was it, Wayland Industries?
Yeah.
And it was like, AVP says it takes place in 2004. That's when the movie came out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'm assuming Alien and Aliens take place in like the future. So I'm like, am I to believe that he invented the Bishop robot to look like himself? I'm like, okay, that's cool. That's a cool little like Easter egg, like connector thing. But in Alien 3, if you recall, Lance Henriksen shows up in that movie as just a guy. He says, I'm not Bishop the robot, I'm Bishop the man. I invented the robot or whatever.
Yeah, and that would have been years and years into the future.
Yeah, like I'm not giving too much thought into it, but probably more than anyone ever did.
I mean, to me, the Alien franchise is Alien, Aliens, and that's it. And then it's Prometheus and Covenant. Like, because, like you were saying, Nick, like, I rewatched all the movies this week, for the most part. And when I watched Alien vs. Predator, remember when, you know, they're recruiting the crew and all that, there is a magazine that says his name is Charles Bishop Wayland.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking he is now, you know, billionaire, runs this company. He is the one that invents these, you know, robots. And that's how I take it. And Alien is after all this. You know what I mean? Like, that's in the future. That's how I take it. With, you know, Prometheus and Covenant, like that. Like, I try to look up, like, chronological order of how to watch the Predator Alien movie universe, and they can't. From what I can find, there is none. Like they all just list either the Alien movies or the Predator. Like they don't know how to intertwine them.
The original Alien takes place 100 years from right this very second, 2122.
Wow.
Yeah. So that, and you know what I mean. So it's like so in essence, did
Nick hit that John C. Reilly.
like is it Prometheus the first thing that ever came out of this? I mean, if you want to intertwine both universes, which is the true first movie? Is it Prometheus?
Might be
Because there's not
Prey,
really an origin story. Even in Prey, there is no origin story of the Predator. He's just the Predator.
Yeah.
Where at least in Prometheus, you see how the xenomorph came about and all this other crazy stuff.
which we didn't need. I will say that's the only thing about Prometheus. Like Ridley Scott's like, finally, your questions are here, they're answered. And I'm like, I never once was like, how did this thing get birthed? What two things got together and made this thing? Like, I was always just like, oh, the alien, that's scary. He showed up on a ship, that's scary. But like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I was gonna say something that like blanked. I was just like, those two franchises are very different. For them to have connected the way that they did, it's almost like we don't give. It's like everybody bashes Alien versus Predator, including me. Like, it's not a good movie, but like the first one, it's almost like I can't believe this doesn't suck more than it does. Like, things are so different, and it's
But
PG.
you know what's crazy?
Like, dumbest idea.
What's crazy about the whole Alien versus Predator connection is across all of the media, the movies is the last form of media where they showed up. Because they started as a comic, they went into toys, they went into video games, and then finally the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Man.
Because they came out of the comics. And we want to get more confused, and y'all keep talking about Wayland. I don't think I heard anybody mention the entire name, Wayland Yutani.
I never
Which
even
was-
heard of that.
That's the full name of the company.
Hey, dude, that logo was in Lightyear. Can't nobody convince me different.
So Wayland, remember in Alien versus Predator, Requiem,
Gross.
No.
when they bought the I forgot what it was, something, a creature left over, and the woman was there. She was Yutani. I don't know if y'all remember that. Yeah, you have to go back and look at it. But the company is Wayland Yutani, and they were two big major corporations that because the name is there in the original Alien, Ridley Scott's Alien. So
Did they
It's
actually
crazy.
died
It's
with
crazy
Requiem?
because I just watched Alien Requiem last night. And I don't even remember that. That's terrible.
it's the last scene. It's the post scene.
I couldn't
Not
fucking
the-
see it. It was probably so dark you couldn't see it.
Yeah,
That's why.
freaking.
Well, Requiem, again,
But going
god awful. It's pretty bad though. But like
Mhm.
something I noticed watching the Predators, like maybe to give credit to the first Alien versus Predator, like it's called Alien versus Predator. They're gonna fight. This is the movie where they fight, and they totally do. Like, they are in the movie, like throughout the movie. It's like, oh fuck, it's a predator. Oh shit, it's an alien. And then they meet, and it's kind of like when they meet, and like they start fighting each other, and like the predator's using the acid to like burn. Like, it's a whole thing. Requiem, it's like I can't even remember them fighting in that movie. I'm sure
Just-
they did.
Mhm.
For like
I'm sure
15
they-
seconds at the end, then
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
squint your eyes, you can see them
That's
fighting.
right. But like that
Gotta
movie's
adjust
all
your
about
TV
the
settings.
people that are in it, which is not necessarily horrible, but it's like it's all about these like bland like children. Basically, they're all like kids, and like John Ortiz is the cop, and like that's it.
Yeah.
And like it's all about them like doing their stupid. Let's go to the pool and take off our clothes. Oh my god,
Hey.
the alien and the predator are here fighting, and it's like, are they fighting? Because it like cuts away,
You're right.
and it's like running and all this stuff in a dark hallway. It's like, somebody turn on a light. So as I said, like, Requiem, it's like I've seen it now probably 4 times in my life. And it's like, I never remember.
Don't feel bad. It's on it, dude.
Like, I'm never like, what were they fighting about? What were they so mad at each other for? Like, what was the big threat? It seemed like everything that happened was like the people. Like,
you know something that sucks?
That movie?
You made perfect. Both of the AVP movies does something. And so AVP, who Paul W.S. Anderson, Paul Whack Shit Anderson, like my brother called him.
No. He's consistent.
Yeah, he's all right. And the second movie, AVP. So both of those movies do something. They tease better movies. AVP, the flashback of the aliens and the predators fighting in like the old Aztec days.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was a great scene. That's how Paul W.S. Anderson actually sold the movie to the studio, and I see why. He had a whole bunch of storyboards and stuff of that scene. So AVP Requiem, when the cleanup predator gets the signal, he's just chilling back in the chair, and he gets up with the helmet, and they show the predator, I guess, world. That's the movie I want to see.
Same.
You know what I mean?
It's kind of cool.
Same.
So I'm like, the first Alien versus Predator, I'm like, are we too hard on that? Probably not. But like, watching them back to back, which is not something I do very often. I watched the first one a few times when it came out, and then it was like years since I watched it, and then I watched it before Covenant, and then I think The Predator too. And it's like, whenever I watch it, I'm like, it's kind of like a more, I don't know if creative is the right word, but like they're doing things where I remember watching it thinking like, okay, the human beings have to pick a side. That's kind of an interesting concept. I wouldn't have thought that that's what they would do, and I don't know if the Predator would have reacted that way to that.
Yep.
But it's something. Like, every time I watch it, I always kind of forget that I'm like, oh, yeah, that's how they go. Like, she works with the Predator and, like, acid to put the mark on her face. And I'm like,
so she's, I'm sorry to cut you off, Nick. So she's dead, right? Because she definitely had to freeze to death, right?
Annihilate and don't die.
Hey,
go ahead, Nick.
She's a Predator now. She joined the, like, 5 or whatever the fuck. As I said, like, yeah, like, they come out and the dude's, like, holding the staff, and they're just like, oh. I'm like, what if Freddy versus Jason had ended that way? they like, kind of, like, were on Jason's side. Like, they were like, we've got to get rid of Freddy. And, like, Jason had been like, that would have been so cool. Like, I was like, there's no way. But Requiem is just worse. So I'm like, you watch it, I'm like, I kind of miss the Predator.
And if you watch it back to back, it really doesn't make any sense.
No, it does not.
The end of AVP1, the little alien burst out, and then at the beginning of Requiem, it's full grown.
That's what I was thinking.
Like, they show it burst out, and then it's like immediate. It's like, oh, again, I always forget. Like, when I watch it, I'm like, okay, so it's picking up from there. Like, I always go into Requiem with like kind of an open mind. Like, I'm always like, maybe it'll be better this time. And I don't hate it. Like, it's not like unwatchably horrible, but it's just not.
Almost.
It's execution, like up, down, all around.
But other than that, kind of to pivot back to the main topic, I don't think any of the Predator movies are bad. Whereas you could, like I said, you could argue that Alien 3 and 4 are bad movies. I'm the only person in the world, probably. I don't hate the 4th Alien movie. I think it's kind of fun.
You're definitely the only one.
3. I do. I think it's better than 3. I don't hate 3. I just don't think 3 is very good.
But studio
Predator,
interference.
Yeah. Predator, like, none of them suck. And rewatching them, I think the closest one to sucking might be The Predator.
Which is insane.
Which is weird.
Yep.
Because I don't remember that. Like, in the theater, I remember thinking The Predator was, like, kind of fun. I gave it, like, a 3. I was like, it's a little uneven, but, like, it was fun. And then rewatching it, I was like,
Yeah.
So when Olivia Munn?
Yeah.
Yes.
So when Olivia Munn, who plays a doctor character, now I'm not saying that the females can't be action stars, this and that, of course, but you introduce us to a character, male or female, a certain way. She's a doctor in the movie, right? No military training or whatever. So the scene in the facility, she's trying to catch the predator, literally with the dart or the trank gun. She's going. The predator's on top of the bridge, and she's right there. She's going stride for stride.
Yeah,
Tracing the predator. That's when I checked out.
and I was thinking something.
And then there's this thing.
Yeah.
Movie stew with I don't know what you call these afflictions, like OCD, and the child in the movie was supposed to be autistic.
Yeah.
And they always do this stereotypical, like Rain Man thing with autism in movies. And the kid in the corner shaking. Oh, look at the chess pieces. Oh, he's a genius. And oh boy. And also in the movie, the kid's a murderer, right? He put the helmet on and blew up the house.
Yeah.
He turns around and somebody tells him to shut up or something like that, and he just shoots him in the chest.
He's not.
But now Shane Black, there's documented studio interference. They reshot the last third of the movie, and there's even there's pics of the original last third of the movie being in the daytime, and you saw the picture of the predator on top of the tank with the cast. So there was supposed to be a different ending. You can look it up, and you can tell it gets real disjointed.
Fox gonna fox.
And I don't know what Shane Black was going for, or if it was interference with the loonies and all that. And I see what he might have been trying to do, but it just came off as very sitcomish.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's hard to pinpoint. I remember this was back when I was writing reviews on Letterboxd, and I kind of I remember writing the review and being like, this is a 3, but it was also hard to pinpoint what didn't work, because I was like, the cast is perfect.
Yeah.
What they were going for, it was they were going for the jokey kind of thing, almost it was a tongue-in-cheek version of the original Predator. These are kind of army guys that joke nonstop. And I was like, the cast was perfect at doing that. Everybody in the cast was great. But I was also at the same time, I don't know what they're I thought it was weird. What's his name? Boyd Holbrook.
Yeah.
He's pretty good. But at the same time, he's absolutely the least famous person in that cast.
Yeah,
including the
child.
Right? Mm-hmm.
Everybody else in that group, including his ex-wife, the child, everybody is more famous than that dude. Not that I care, but I'm Olivia Munn, they made her the doctor who, Eric said, she just suddenly knows everything. And what is the first thing she does? She takes her clothes off.
Oh, yeah.
They were how can we get her naked so the predator...
There's really no point in that, yeah.
I'm it could have done a twist here, a tweak there. She could have been the lead of the movie, and it would have been the same movie. It's oh, she has an ex-husband and an autistic son. She's in the military. She found the predator. It would have been fine. It would have been fine. Not that that's really a complaint, but it's kind of a complaint. But it's also the cast is Sterling K. Brown is
too quippy.
Ass off in that movie, and I'm what movie does he think he's in?
Yeah.
He is
him and his gum.
Yeah, yeah. They had the whole thing. I'm who wrote this dialogue? Is insane. He's you and me, we're gonna dance. He's I got my shoes all picked out. I'm what movie are we watching? This is insane.
And then
But
spoilers.
Is he playing that same character in the Honk for Jesus movie?
It looks like it.
Right?
Wow.
Right?
He's got a weird touch.
Right? But let's break. Alright, so before we broke, we was talking about how Shane Black was trying to make an adult MCU movie and crashed and burned. We gotta talk about the first one, man. Talk about the first one, the one that started it all, the classic. That was like one of the details I noticed about The Predator. Like Shane Black brought back that score. He used the font for like the title card. Like him being in that movie is what The Predator was disappointing to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the first, it's like it's basic. It's in the jungle. You know the tableless arm wrestling match. Like Carl Weathers, Arnold Schwarzenegger, man. Like the first Predator is amazing.
That's like Eric shared that thing about somebody I didn't see didn't like Prey. They said it didn't feel like a Predator movie.
How
and
not?
Said, like I said, if anything, The Predator didn't really feel like a Predator movie, which is like you just said, all the more disappointing because Shane Black was in Predator, so you would think, oh well, he'll get it. It's a very simple formula.
Everybody's a suspect.
A surprising amount. But yeah, Predator, the original. Something I like about Predator that I notice every time I watch it, which isn't as often as it should be, but
yeah,
I watched this is probably the first time I've watched it in 4 years. But I was like, as it goes on, it's like the tone of the movie changes so you can see the threat that the Predator is. It starts off very silly, which is the point. It's like very macho, very like you see, the arm wrestle. It's over the top on purpose.
Dylan.
And as it goes on, it's more serious. It becomes a horror movie.
As they start to get picked off,
It turns into a horror movie. Like Arnold's character is quippy, and he's like the other guy. It's really like he's like, oh, you've been pushing too many pencils. And at the end of the movie, he's not saying like that. Well, like he's very serious by the end of the movie, and like,
come on, do it, come on.
Yeah, it's Predator versus Prey. That's the formula, and they have fumbled that formula a surprising amount of times for it to be so simple. It's like The Predator, that is not the formula at all.
No, that's what Predator does it. Predator 2 does it. Predators does it to an extent.
Predators does it very well.
Predators is severely underrated.
It is.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That was my number 2. Predators was my number 2 Predator movie
until this
prior
weekend.
To seeing Prey.
Yeah, before this week. But yeah, that's it's like Randy from Screen. It's a very simple formula. Predator Predator.
This has to be Predator has to be the rarest example of studio interference working for the better. So
that's a thing.
The original design of the Predator looked like a giant praying mantis, and it was played by Jean-Claude Van Damme.
No way.
Yeah.
I knew that. I didn't know it looked like it did.
Remind me on IG. I'll send y'all a picture. So the funny thing is, Jean-Claude Van Damme is still in the movie as the Predator. So all of the scene where Jesse Ventura is killed, he gets hit
the sexual
with something.
tyrannosaur.
And that's a great rhyme. But you see Jesse Ventura gets hit something, and then a split second later, you see the laser comes and kills him, right? So y'all never question what that is he gets hit with at first. Y'all know what I'm talking.
Yeah.
That comes from the original design of what the Predator was, but McTiernan, the director, liked it so much, the visual, he just left it in. It makes no sense if you look at it. But anyway, when you see Bill Duke run up and he sees the Predator and cloaked, if you look at the outline, you can see it's not how the Predator will look later in the movie. It's the original design. And also, when Carl Weathers is killed...
Is that when they come in and just mow everything down?
What's that?
When they come in, when Bill Duke comes in and they all just mow everything down?
Yeah, that scene, yeah. And the scene where the Predator's running around. Most of the scenes where the Predator is cloaked is Jean-Claude Van Damme. So, anyway, I hate this thing.
Holy shit.
Anyway.
This is almost as bad as getting up and going to get water.
Oh, man. No. So anyway, John Claude Van Damme. It's a crazy story. I'm gonna try to make it quick. John Claude Van Damme thought he was gonna be an actor in the movie and not a special effect. So he pretended like he was getting sick, so he got fired from the movie. But also, they didn't like the design of the original Predator, so they shut the production down.
Yeah, right.
And Stan Winston redesigned the creature on the plane.
Isn't he like 5'8"?
Yeah, 5'9", 5'8", and he was on stilts and like I rocked it out. I thought you might have known this. I'll send you the pictures of the original.
That's intriguing. I never knew because I know like it was the Predator's Kevin Peter Hall. You know what I mean? That's who Predator is. But I never knew. And man, I gotta look all this stuff up. This is interesting.
Yeah, it's easy to find now. And so Stan Winston, the story goes, he was on a plane redesigning the Predator, and he got how the Predator would look, but it was something missing on the face.
AJ from 106 in Park.
What's that?
AJ from 106 in Park.
Oh, man.
He was sitting there. Stan Winston was sitting next to his friend, and his friend suggested the mandible claws. And his friend was
the sock and the...
Oh, wow.
So that's how that story goes. But anyway, studio interference. Randy, you brought up the scene where they light up the force, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the studio went and looked at the footage, and they said, man, it's not enough action. And Day and John McTiernan had a meeting. They say, let's just have a scene where they just shooting stuff. And that's how that scene got in the movie. So, yeah. So redesigning the Predator was studio decision.
Bro, he was out of rounds, and he still had a hand on the trigger.
Crazy. Like I said, like I saw somebody else comment, like we said, on Twitter, you find yourself on Twitter, and it's just like everybody in the world is talking about the same thing, when really it's like not everybody watched Prey this weekend. But it was like, I saw a bunch of people talking about Predator. You click on somebody says, Prey is the best Predator movie, period, ever. I'm like, whoa, big words. So you click that, and then there's always somebody that agrees with them. And people are saying, it's easy to forget that Predator is kind of at its core, a classic right-wing 80s.
Oh, boy. People always got to spin.
And I'm like, it is to a degree. But it, like I just said, it's intentional the way they did that.
Yes.
Maybe I'm looking at Predator too deep, but I'm like, it's intentional when I watch it. I'm like, they made this like the classic, like, tough guys, they're going in the jungle to fuck shit up. And like they all die. Like that's the point of the movie. It's like, look at us. Look how funny we are and how cool we are.
Yeah.
Not these jokes. And it's like none of that saves them in the jungle.
And even
like,
the first action scene where they go to try and rescue the hostages, they tearing everybody up, and Jesse Ventura with the badass line, like, oh, you hit, you bleed. Like, I ain't got time to bleed.
I ain't got time to bleed.
Like, you're gonna die.
No, they just building them up as these ultimate badasses, and then, like Randy said, they get picked off one by one. But and it's crazy. John McTiernan. People always confuse Predator with his first movie. It's actually his second movie, and his third movie is Die Hard.
Bruh. That's an iconic back-to-back.
Whatever,
yeah.
Die.
But yeah, it's the Predator is just the perfect like formula. You want to use the cliche, lightning in the bottle. Like everything just clicks, everything works. And Kevin Peter Hall, the dude that played the Predator, is in the movie in human form. When the Predator blows up the forest, and I was about to say Stallone, and Schwarzenegger is standing there, all heroic in a helicopter.
That's in the last action hero universe,
right? So the helicopter pilot, when they're looking at the explosion, it's a black dude. That's Kevin Peter Hall.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if y'all remember that shot.
Nice.
So R.I.P. to him. So,
yeah, because he did Predator 1 and 2, and then shortly after 2 he passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Let's segue into 2.
Speaking of which,
I reached out to Stephen Hopkins. Couldn't attend. Shout out to him. What y'all think about 2? Like, I wanted to ask him, like, coming off of like The Dream Child, like how he even landed that shit.
I was ready to praise too if he was on here. I was ready to be like, "Two is the most underrated sci-fi film."
Like I remember watching it before the Predator. Like, man, this is kind of like because it's like not Predator. I was like, it's kind of, but watching it this past like binge, like it's kind of underrated. Like Predators is.
2 is kind of sick. Like, I don't know. I've watched 2 a handful of times. I don't watch it as often as 1. I just don't. But it's like, yeah, rewatching it this weekend. It's like rewatching it before the Predator. It was like I kind of had forgotten a lot of it. And rewatching it this week, it was like, I don't know, it was like better than I remember it being. Like it was like, it's different than the first one in so many ways. But it's also kind of the same when you come back. It's like the concrete jungle, which is like what they're going for. And it works. It's like cool. It's like, oh, this is like different, but also the same, but different. And like, I moved it up higher in my ranking. Oh no.
Yeah, we lost Rocket. We'll be back.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Sean said, "Fuck 2."
The fuck Predator 2.
It's, so I know we're gonna have difference of ranking. Predator 2. It's like almost a photo finish. There it is. With Predator. Well,
guess who's back?
Now that Prey's out, I didn't read. But anyway, Predator 2. Great cast.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. I was like, bro, you directed a movie with Danny Glover, Gary Busey, Bill Paxton. We need stories.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, who else you got? It's
you got Maria Conchita Alonso in there.
Oh yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, Robert Davi. Robert Davi was like,
Robert Davi has a cameo. Like man.
Blades.
And even Randy, your guy from the Lethal Weapon movies, the captain.
Yeah. That's Steve Kahn. Yeah.
SWAT leader.
Yep.
You're like, God dog, you go with him. And yeah, who else? People don't know him by name. So Gary Busey's right hand man is an actor named Adam Baldwin.
Yeah.
And there's a great scene in the movie after the Predator takes out the Jamaican gang in a condo, and Gary Busey and his guys come in, and Danny Glover, as Gary Busey's walking away, he's like, "Who the hell are you, Keys?" And Adam Baldwin walks up. He's like, "The last person you want to fuck with."
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
If you think about it, looking at the cast, there's quite a few connections. You have Gary Busey, Danny Glover connecting to Lethal Weapon.
Steve Kahn.
You know, you have Bill Paxton, who I think is the only person on the cast to work in an Alien and Predator movie.
The only person to be
and
killed
Terminator.
by Alien, the Predator.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, Maria Conchita Alonso, I think she did The Running Man first.
Oh yeah, with Schwarzenegger.
With Schwarzenegger, and
Yeah,
now
was
she's
87.
Yep. I think the only one is, and we're also forgetting Ruben Blades. You know, he's in this too, as Danny Boy. So I mean, it's like you guys were saying, it's an all-star cast. It makes, if you think about it though, like I watched it the other night, just rewatching it again, and Danny Glover was constantly yelling in this damn movie. Like every scene, he's just yelling. I'm laughing. I'm like, this guy was bad. Like,
that's what's dope about it to me. Like Danny Glover is never like the traditional action lead.
Yeah,
and he's front and center throughout this whole thing.
He yelled at everybody but Ruben Blades in that movie. Like,
yeah.
Fucking captain, I'm trying to do my shit. And then he walks out and looks at Ruben like, he goes, well, here we go again. And then Bill Paxton goes, who the fuck are you? You're this fucking child. Look at this guy.
Oh, and another connection, Rocket. So Gary Busey's character is the father. So Gary Busey is the father of Jake Busey.
Yeah.
And Predator and the Predator, Jake Busey plays the son of Gary Busey's character in Predator 2, which is kind of
that's
cool.
right.
Keys.
There's a lot of connections. There's a lot of connections.
But it's like, why? It's like what it's like. When you
It's
but it's like, but why though? Like, why? That's it. The Predator acknowledged. They were like, yeah, he's been here before, and 87 again in 97. I'm like, but never in 2004
Yeah.
when he fought the alien. That wasn't on your radar when it like destroyed that small town or whatever.
Yeah, it's just. Well, yeah, I remember the movie was set in the future, Predator 2, future of 1997.
I was like, wait, look.
Yeah, even they say he was here 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But so, did y'all recently watch this Predator 2?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just seen that.
Look who you talking to.
Okay.
You know me and Nick
I
watch
wanna-
that shit.
Down. I gotta ask y'all a question. One of the most badass scenes, in my opinion, is one of the most puzzling scenes, also in my opinion. So at the meat house at the end, right?
Yep.
They got the suits on. Gary Busey, like, get out of here! I want to save your ass. And that's my Gary Busey.
Yeah.
That was almost Nick
Predator,
Nolte. Ironically, that was closer to Nick Nolte.
More than Gary Busey. So the Predator gets up with this like boomerang thing, like ching, and he throws it, and it cuts through the meat, like
Yeah.
ping. Then it cuts Gary Busey in half.
Yep.
The bottom half of his body falls,
Where's the top half?
but the top half just
It's in the meat.
That'd
Like,
be a
wait a
perfect
minute.
question for the director.
oh man,
There's Gary Busey's top half right now.
yeah.
I don't fucking know what you're talking
I mean, it's such an awesome scene with the thing just cutting through those big old chunks of meat. You don't really question it until,
Yeah.
but yeah.
And what I also like about that scene too, it also shows how the Predator's technology has evolved.
Oh yeah,
Look
when
at
he-
the
Yeah.
first Predator, Arnold puts mud on, and it's camouflage. You can't read no heat signals.
Yo.
Yeah,
Gary Busey and his crew,
yeah,
they're
he
in
hit.
the suit, and then he goes through the layers of reading thermal signals and
Yeah,
all that.
he's
And
going-
then
that
the
was an
light,
awesome
he just
scene.
sees the light.
That was like the detail of Predator 2 that I caught this time. Like
Yep.
Danny Glover's doing the "you won ugly," and then that Predator, not the Predator from the first movie, finishes the line.
Finish the line.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So before
That's
he
a lot
like
of good
self-destructed, did he like upload everything from that he caught from the first movie to their planet or ship or whatever?
That's the thing for Predator 2, like the way they copy what people are saying. Like they
Want
got
some
that kid to
candy?
say, "You want some candy?"
Want some candy.
Like, perfectly, and it's creepy every time he does it. Every time that Predator says, "Want some candy?"
Want some
It's like-
candy?
Because he repeats it when he kills Bill Paxton.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Super creepy.
it's like this perfectly creepy tone. I'm like, dude, that deserves an extra like. I said, that was like you got that kid to say that perfectly.
Yeah, that's true. That's a well delivered line. Yeah, because he's about to blast that kid, and if he saw
Yeah.
the weapon was not fake, I'm like, ooh.
I like to assume that he did kill the child because that's how he copied what he said. That's how I've always taken it. Like, oh yeah, he ate the boy.
And that's the thing about this Predator franchise too. Like I said, I like most of the movies. There's only pretty much one baddish one, but
Dude.
sometimes it gets confusing because as the Predator, if you're not a threat, he lets you be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's sometimes in some of these movies, there's people not even a threat, and he's just chopping away, killing people, and I'm like, how like it's
That happens
sometimes
a
a
lot
little.
in
This is
the
That's almost
Predator.
they did in Alien versus Predator.
Predator. That's the one. Yeah,
Predator 2, did he not kill
Maria Conchita Alonso,
right.
but she's pregnant.
Right.
It's like he scans her and he's like, no. In Alien versus Predator, was it Lance Hendrickson? Done he
Yep.
originally? And he like, no, I'm not. This
He
guy's
saw his
sick.
heart. Saw his heart. was
Yeah, he's
beating.
sick. He was sick.
Yeah.
That's something else that they, at least the makers of Alien versus Predator, watched the
Yeah.
Predator
Mhm.
and we're like, okay,
Dude.
I can do this.
I can.
And then he does kill Lance Hendrick. Why? Because you try to burn the Predator
Right, he
as
tried
he
to-
walked away.
Flame
So
for
now
it.
you're a threat to me. Now it don't matter.
I can honestly roll with the Predator with all its like corniness and over the top jokiness
Mhm.
until that end tag. That's my new suit. That sequel setup was forced as
Oh
fuck.
man, that was terrible.
Yeah, that was a reshoot, and there's my new suit, boo. Shut up.
It's like,
Let's hit
that's not that cool. Yeah, like,
exactly.
It's like, that there's my new suit. And it's like, it's not like you're unveiling the classic Wolverine suit that you're going to wear and you're Hugh Jackman. it's just some
Right.
suit. I'm like, well, wait,
Yeah.
it's not something
It's
famous.
an
Like,
Iron Man suit for the Predator.
Yeah. Oh, you beat me by 1 second with my Iron Man ripoff.
Yes.
thing.
Let's hit Predator. Let's
my
hit
thing is
Predators before we close and gush over Prey.
Ew.
yeah, I like Predators.
Yeah.
That's-
Produced.
Troublemaker Studios.
Yeah, Robert Rodriguez. That was and they did this. I like how they utilized the original score. The cast was great.
Mhm.
Yes,
And yeah, I think it was fantastic.
Is it
I
like-
don't know how much of a hit was the movie
Is it?
because it seemed to be like very underrated.
It came out. It came out in the wake of Despicable Me, man. So who knows?
But also, I think it's out with the taste of the people of the franchise. Remember, it came out. You had Predator, Predator 2. Then you had the two.
About 2.5
Alien
years
versus
after
Predator
Requiem.
movies. Yeah. So then, like that, after AVP 2, that left some people thought it was bad taste on their mouth. Now it becomes
Yeah,
That's a fact.
Predators are, so it's not going to get as much attention because
It-
people probably tired of it.
It only did 52 domestic,
Yeah, see, it should have made way more than that.
and it
It came out on my
opened.
birthday that year. I think it was the same day as Despicable Me and Dinner for Schmucks, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh wow.
Dinner for Schmucks was the end of that month.
No,
Interesting.
it wasn't. It might have been. I read, but yeah, it was not like competing with Despicable
It
Me.
opened. Well, that's opening day. How do I get opening weekend?
But once again, this movie, fantastic ensemble cast. This is the first time I think I noticed Mahershala Ali.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
and
going back, I
anything.
didn't remember he was in the movie until he got like famous, and then when I went
Right.
back and watched it, I was like, oh shit, that's
Like,
too
oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. It opened number 3 behind Despicable Me, and that's opening weekend, and the Twilight Saga Eclipse, probably in its second weekend.
Well, that makes sense.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eclipse was.
Now, I want y'all to tell me this. Y'all could go back if y'all don't remember it. This movie did something that is a huge pet peeve of mine. Not the movie, the trailer. So y'all remember, I think it was the teaser trailer in particular, when Adrian Brody, they're showing Adrian Brody. Then you see the Predator target on him. Then you see another one, then another one, and another one, and another one. It's like 10 Predator targets on him. The
Like,
scene is
it's
in the movie.
Predators.
What's that?
Yeah.
Look?
It's like, oh, it's a predator.
Yeah.
Oh, it's predators. And then that's the name. It's like, oh,
And they did that scene exclusively for the trailer, like, oh, because it's the scene where they come in the actual movie. It's the scene where they come out the thing, Lawrence Fishburne's hiding place,
Yeah.
and the Predator puts his thing on him. I'm like,
Pause.
like y'all got me, but
Predators
No,
is
but I
definitely
would've-
like at the time, like Adrian Brody. Was he even an action guy at the time?
No,
He
that's what
kind
I'm
of is
thinking.
now.
This is like maybe his like only franchise movie.
yeah, he
Like,
really wasn't an action guy. I mean, he'd been in King Kong, but he wasn't.
He wasn't the action guy in King
No.
Kong. He was the Academy Award winner for The Pianist. Like that wasn't an action movie. And like
Yeah,
he kind of
bordering
kills.
on the line.
Yeah, he's a badass in this.
Yeah, he kind of kills the role. Like I remember being like, "Oh, Adrian Brody, that's like some pedigree ish." I was like, "Oh, that's a Oscar winner." Like, yeah, he rules.
And you also got Walter Scoggins in this too.
That's my
Walton
boy,
Goggins.
Walter Goggins.
Yeah, he's great in that role.
Robert
Yeah.
Rodriguez wrote his entire dialogue.
Yeah, and Topher Grace.
Your ass is awesome.
Random
Yeah.
being the sociopath, man. But yeah, it's
good.
and of course, Robert Rodriguez, his boys in the movie, Dual Weldon, Danny Trejo.
Oh yeah,
But yeah,
he was filming Machete at the time. Like they took him out fast.
oh yeah, that makes sense. He was the first person to get off in the crew, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
That was the same year as Machete. They're like, dude, you got to get back to set.
Machete.
Yeah, but now I like the design. It's one thing I didn't like about AVP is the design of the Predators, they look like middle linebackers.
Yeah, they're hefty.
They were big and all bulky. And I like the redesign a little bit in Predators. They had the different Berserker Predators.
Yeah.
And, of course, the original design Predators, which they had, as Lawrence Fishburne described in the movie, they're like wolves to dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But do you also think that's like their evolution as well? You know what I mean? Like, because everything is in different timelines, and technically, Predators takes on it's not even on Earth; it's on a different planet.
Yeah, it's on their planet. Yeah, that's
they didn't have to reference.
Seen, at least one more movie.
Yeah.
From that storyline or whatever.
That's still like part of the canon or whatever. It's like, we gotta get off this fucking planet. Like, are they still there? Have they been there for 12 years? And it's like it would have been cool if that, but it would have had to have been a big box office hit for that to have been a thing.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
More people.
But yeah, I think it's what Rocky said, just franchise fatigue at that point, and the last movie was a Peter Shifter.
Yeah.
Oh man, like I'm not gonna lie, when they said Prey, I'm like, oh, what is this? I'm like, then I saw a trailer of it. I'm like, that's Predator. Like, I didn't even know, because, like, I guess they were trying to disguise the name, maybe from the fatigue of it. You know what I mean? Like,
that trailer's all I needed.
I like the title. I think Randy told me the title first, or like shared something that said it's official. It's called Prey, and I was like, "That's pretty cute." Like, I was like, "Oh, it's called Prey." That's okay. And then like the trailer kicked ass. I remember watching the trailer.
That was a perfect teaser.
They're like, okay. And then they put out the poster. There was not a single bad poster for Prey.
No.
Oh, wow. That's true.
Well, like, they put out like 6 of them. And, like, I was like, they're going to put out one of these. Any one of these would have sold me on this. Like, hell yeah. If I'd have seen that hanging in a theater, whereas Spider-Man No Way Home, the biggest movie of all time, like, they could not figure out what to put on the poster for this movie.
Oh, boy.
I'm going to sell this in a poster form.
Right.
And Prey was like, there you go.
That's the only thing that I don't like about Prey is that they just threw it on Hulu.
Yeah, and that's another thing, I guess, being safe with that. I would love to see this movie in theaters.
It would have been
I think this movie would have had a lot of legs going, because, like, it wouldn't have maybe it wouldn't have done well the first weekend, but as the talk about it, would have.
What's the budget on the movie, actually?
And there's nothing coming out in August, too. So if it had opened in August, late July, it could have legged.
I don't see a budget.
Yeah, that's a good question.
You guys look for it. I'm not doing work.
This is so.
Don't need another one of those, Nick.
I'm not doing work. I'm not paid.
But anywho,
I'm actually really curious. So
I'm gonna guess like 30 million. I don't know. Yeah. That's a total guess.
It does not say on Wikipedia.
Yeah, like Wikipedia is like my only like go-to. Like, where else do you look?
Not that it looked bad or cheap or anything like that.
It definitely
didn't. I feel
didn't.
like it probably wasn't like gargantuan. Like it
probably
was
obviously not a $200 million movie.
Yeah, I don't think it was massive. But it's like we said, like franchise fatigue. It's like the last 2 Predator movies probably underperformed a little versus the expectations. I was surprised that they even were doing this, especially considering Disney owns Fox. I was like, man, they're probably going to kill Alien and Predator because the last couple movies have underperformed.
Yeah, and I know a lot of the location was like in Canada, like Quebec in that area.
Yeah. Mm. So like, here's hoping. I don't know. Are they still doing the Alien TV show?
Supposedly they are.
Yeah, I heard the script is done or something. They start filming like early next year ish.
I don't know if I care. I mean, I probably like. Who would have thought? Like, how many Hannibal Lecter TV shows have there been? I'm like, I haven't given a shit about any of them. Like, I've never watched them. Like, this show's Claude Clarice, and I'm like, I should be excited about that. I'm not. I don't know. This show is
I
called
do
Ripley.
not know.
I'm gonna be
Well,
like,
that's how I kind of felt with Prey too, because it was like, it's another Predator movie. It's called Prey. I was like, all right, this is prior to me watching the trailer. Oh, we're throwing it on Hulu. I was like, oh, there you go.
yeah.
And then I saw the trailer. I was like, okay, now I'm intrigued. And I've seen it twice already this weekend. Like, there's little things you do miss. After I watched it the first time, I went back, and there are little aspects that you do miss here and there with it.
Like the Predator
And I'm
had in the cut, and they're not making it obvious or something.
Yeah, it's like and some stuff like that makes more sense now. You know, so it's I feel like this Predator in Prey was more visceral.
Yeah, it was like animalistic.
Yeah,
Yes.
But it really, like in this, like they're out in the woods, surrounded by the animals and all this stuff. Yeah, that was the.
It strips down all the weapons. It strips down all the tech.
He's wearing like a bone like mask, like a makeshift little mask instead of like the high tech shit.
So y'all talking about nods to the other movies. The flintlock gun.
Oh yeah, P2.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
So,
I like that.
and so question, what is it? What's the tagline for Prey?
this is for the Predator.
Or at least somewhere in the movie or somewhere in the trailer, like or on the poster, like this is the Predator's first hunt or something like that, right?
Yeah, I think.
I've never seen a tagline.
Yeah, it's
I'm
somewhere
looking it up.
I heard or seen that. But if it's something accurate like that, it's the Predator's first hunt on Earth or something along the lines of that. But in Predator 2, when he goes back to his ship, he has dinosaur skulls.
Is that when they do the dance?
Yeah. I was just curious about that. Is that the tagline?
There's a xenomorph skull in there too.
Oh yeah, that's what the whole
Alien versus Predator thing.
That was Freddy reaching up and grabbing the Jason mask.
Is Alien vs. Predator a great movie? I feel like that's taking away from the fact. Is Alien vs. Predator like a good payoff to like years and years of build up?
No.
Nah.
Yeah, but no, Prey was going back to what the fella said, doesn't feel like a Predator. It feels the closest thing to a Predator movie since like what Nick said, since the first one. I don't see what
exactly.
he's looking for. I need to ask him that question.
It is the formula.
Because when he was running through the French, the Frenchman, and he had that shield, and he chopped the tree in half with it, man.
Yeah, that was dope.
Like it's formula. It's just like that. If I could think it, that's something I thought. Like after I watched it, I was like, "Well, it's something I would put in a review." It's like it delivers on what it promised. It is a movie that delivered. Like this is a Predator prequel taking place in the middle of like an Apache tribe in the woods. This is that, and it's like that sounds cool. And you watch it, and it's like it was cool, and also like there was character development. Like you cared about all the characters to a degree. There were like red shirt characters.
Yeah, of course.
But, you cared about the main character, not in some fucking like she's a Mary Sue kind of fucking way that everybody is already saying. Like you see that she is like kind of the runt of the litter of this tribe. Like she's treated that way the entire movie. And she doubts herself the entire movie, and people doubt her. It is her rising to the occasion. That is the story. It goes like this.
Right.
That's
the story progressing.
Okay, I'm gonna kill everybody. Everybody's always the people talking about Black Panther. I hope we see her train.
I read that stupid. That's from that other group, the other blue checkmark group on Twitter. I ain't gonna say his name either.
As stupid as a fucking take as that is, what is this girl doing like 75% of this movie? Training. with her
Yeah.
dog and her fucking
With the axe and the rope,
with the
like,
trees,
dude.
just pulling it. Every time she's not doing something like hunting or fighting the fucking predator or being captured by like the white guys that show up, she's doing the bullshit that like you're wanting her to do. She's out there like, I'm gonna catch this fish. Oh, you shot the eagle. Now you have to cross the stream to go get it, idiot, and all this stuff. She's doing all of the things that people want, and they're still like, shocker. They're still like, oh, Mary Sue.
Hey, Rocket, I don't know if you and Nick and Randy, y'all know this. The same dude that you're talking about, Nick, this is what he wrote about Prey. We got y'all seen it already, but
Roasting.
Prey was such a good thriller. I haven't even seen the other Predator movies.
Oh, fuck that guy.
But I love thrillers like this. Amber Hunter is a star. This film is vicious, simple, and badass. And the response, somebody had a response when he said he hasn't seen that one, the other Predator movies. I'm like, yeah, and it's the same goofball that wrote. I hope we see, what's her name from Black Panther training.
Fuck this guy because this is the trending topic that he just wants to be a part of. He wants to be a part of the discussion. If he really hasn't seen the other Predators, fuck this guy.
No, I can't stand it. The dude is a journalist.
Yeah.
A legit journalist. It has a blue check mark. I'm like, dude, you don't gotta do that BS to get attention. You already made it.
Yeah, he's on my movie theater screens. I'm like, bro, you made it. You did it.
That's the thing. Jurassic Park, first time watch, like that's how he got his check mark.
I would simply never admit to not
36 years old, we're talking about first time watch for Jurassic Park.
And anything, and as a journalist, what's your job? You do research.
Exactly.
Why not?
Oh, God.
I mean, it's watch. Even if anything, watch the first one. You don't. If anything, watch the original.
And even if you didn't,
why would you say you didn't?
I would just never admit to like not having seen Predator. Like,
yeah.
Straight up, if it was my job, I'd be like, dude, this is the best Predator movie I've seen. And I'd leave it at that because I haven't seen any of the other ones.
Right.
This is the best Predator movie I've seen.
And I just wanted to say this. I actually wanted to say this during the last episode. And somebody had said something about movie critics. So the movie critic in the classic sense, I think, is dead. And I'm talking about going old school. I'm talking about Roger Ebert.
I'm trying to keep it alive.
Gene Shalit and Leonard Maltin. Because these dudes weren't just movie critics telling you what they think you should see based on their opinion. They had a very unique way, objectively, of looking at the movie from a cinematic point of view and suggesting to you why they think you should go see it based on that. And in the social media age, everything is I think. So you should go see it because I think this.
So I am trying to keep it alive.
Yeah, and it's very rare now. This old school way. I'm calling it old school, just referring to them. Objective viewing of movies. So as somebody said, so necessarily going to them, like all of these critics, all four of them, you could read. They're film historians too. They're not just movie critics. And because of that, they love cinema. And anybody who's watching this should research.
Student of the game, baby.
Those movie critics.
It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
No.
So, but that's just my opinion on that because new age movie critics, for the most part, ain't it. Like this goofball right here. It's I ain't gonna say his name, but. But no, that's all I had to say about that as far as, and you know, another thing, I'm going to milk this time a little bit more, I'm sorry.
Keep going, we got 15 minutes.
All right, so Roger Ebert, Chi-Town, Cisco and Ebert.
Chicago, Maine.
Chicago Sun-Times. So he told this story about why he thought the future generation of moviegoers were doomed. He was at a screening. And he saw this movie that he really liked. And this young couple recognized him from the show, Cisco and Ebert. And they're like, oh, Mr. Ebert, like, we love your show. 2 thumbs up. 2 thumbs up. You're like, thank you. And they asked him do you recommend anything that we should go see, that we should go look at? And he said, yeah, as a matter of fact, I just came from seeing what I think is one of the best movies of the year. It makes you think. I love the characters.
Oh, they were out.
Cinematography is beautiful. And I think you all should check it out. And the couple looked at him and said, that doesn't seem like anything we'd be interested in.
What was the movie?
Did I forget the name of the movie? You know what? No, I didn't forget it. He didn't say what the movie was. He just described it.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. But
I would
that's that.
Like Fight Club or some shit.
Because I've always been curious what movie it was. He never said it in his story.
People do that though. Like I'm kind of the movie guy. Like in my family and my friends and stuff like that. Like I'm the only one who's weird the way I am. Like I'm. And so like that's kind of like people will ask me like, "What's the best movie you've seen lately?" and all that stuff. And it's more of like an icebreaker than an actual question. Like what? Because I'll be like, dude, I'm telling you right now, Jojo Rabbit. Moved me to tears. That movie was incredible. And they're like, what's that? Is that the one with like funny Hitler? And I'm like,
oh my god,
he said funny Hitler.
Yes, but that's not. Yeah, I don't know. And I'm like, well, you don't really want me to give you like my opinion on what you should go see. It's like go see fucking Godzilla. King of the Monsters, whatever.
I was telling my guy at work just the other day, like I'm the movie guy around here, but when I'm on the podcast, when I get around you guys on the podcast, I don't know shit.
That's I don't. Yeah, people be like, oh, you don't. I got guys at work that I'll tell them stuff, and then I'll break out like little facts about like the directors and stuff like that, and they are like, what? Well, I did not know that. I'm like, it's a very basic.
Bro,
my favorite thing to tell people is like. Remember James Cameron and Catherine Bigelow used to be married, then they got divorced, and then were nominated against each other for Best Director? Yep. People look at me like,
what are you? What planet are you from?
That's a simple thing.
Dude,
it's fun.
There was this guy, I've mentioned to you guys, the hangar that I work in, this my guy, like, we're cool, but he was the movie guy in the building, and then, I came out of my shell. And like we'll talk every so often, and I'll prattle on about directors, and it'll just like show the layers of like, dude, he's not on my level.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's just like last week the last episode rather, how we were trying to say basically you can do both.
Yeah.
I mean, cause like one day I went to Best Buy, I bought the Godfather and Howard the Duck. I'm like,
nice combo. Right,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Both in 4K, and people like you could do both, and we all obviously collect movies, and Hector, a friend of the podcast, he posted his Justice League movie.
Shout out
He has
Hector.
4 copies. He has a steel book, slip cover, a different steel book. And somebody put in his comments, but why buy 4 copies? And I was about to comment. I'm like, I'll leave it to Hector.
Man, you should have.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't understand. It's a collector's thing. Double dipping, triple dipping. And if anybody know about that, I know Nick knows about that. Nick still got VHS movies.
In my head, it's like, these are all necessary.
Well, the funny thing is, this is like me. Spider-Man No Way Home. I wanted to get the Steelbook. Couldn't find it for nowhere.
Yeah, I got
lucky. I reached out to actually Best Buy is doing a reprint of it, and they're selling it for like $43 or whatever.
God.
But I reached out to this cat who's all over Instagram and on Twitter. Alberto Verona. He made me a custom Steelbook. And that thing is
that's a poster right there.
That's cool.
He made me a custom Steelbook, so I bought the 4K, and he made me a Steelbook for this, Ghostbusters Afterlife, and Chef. The one with the Chef is pretty dope. So then he made me those 3 Steelbooks, shipped it from Spain, and I'm like, if I can't get the normal Steelbook, I'm gonna get the custom one. And I mean, he hooked me up. I mean, and that was the thing. Is like, it's as collectors, if you can't get it, you find a way of making it or getting it. You know what I mean? And that's the thing.
That's part of the fun. That's part of the journey.
Exactly. Like, and I saw Nick's review on YouTube, I hope with the word of mouth that Prey does get a physical copy.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
I'm flattered but insulted at the same time.
No, like, it's true because a lot of these movies that come on streaming don't get these releases.
Yes, it's crazy how that works. I mean, some movies don't get any, and then you have Marriage Stories getting Criterion.
No shit.
And all this HBO to pivot back, that HBO Max, like all this shit. Talking about like they've quietly taken off their originals. A lot of those original movies have gotten DVD releases, not Blu-ray, like The Witches and I think Lockdown.
That's what I was gonna say.
This dude, I might buy The Witches on DVD.
This dude pulling the plug on all those original HBO Max movies got his ticket into heaven if he canceled the House Party remake.
Yeah, that's fine. I didn't watch the Father Divide remake, but yeah, I don't know. But yeah, to pivot back, it's like, thank God we did buy all those movies because eventually, it's just weird to me.
Physical media folks always focus on.
Like in Randy's review too, it's like at the end of the day, it's I watch his reviews and it's pretty much a lot of the stuff now is on streaming, and it's like I'll go on Best Buy pre-order, like I'll just look what they have pre-order. Oh, this one was on Hulu or Netflix or whatever, and it's a streaming movie, and then there's some movies that I think should get a copy of physical copy, and there's like nowhere to be found.
That's this whole thing with the streaming. Even something like prior to HBO Max, like all this like streaming wars business has really only been a thing for like the last 3 years. Like since Disney Plus dropped.
Yeah.
That's what really
gave Netflix some competition.
Spartacus, where everyone was like, well, we want our own. But like prior to that, it was like, something even as massive as like Harry Potter. If it wasn't on TV, people just didn't watch it. Like they'd be like, "Oh, thank God ABC Family's doing a Harry Potter weekend." Like that's how you watch Harry Potter? Is this the 1970s? It's like the movie comes on TV and you never see it again. Or God, I gotta wait till Christmas and then Wizard of Oz will come on, and we'll all get the family together and watch Wizard of Oz. I'm like, that's it. That's the only time you're gonna watch Wizard of Oz.
Did we all cut the cord? Nobody has cable on here?
I still got cable.
I got DirecTV.
You're thinking about getting rid of it soon?
I need my sports packages.
That's the reason why I have cable. It's like with the way. So my wife and I, we talked about it, and we're like, oh, we're going to cut the cord. We're going to get, YouTube TV and Hulu this and that and Disney Plus. And it's like, the more channels the channels we are interested in, they come in packages. You can't just buy certain channels individual. Right. So then I'm a sports guy. I need my sports package. Like we did the math. It'll now cost more for us to stream stuff. Also, remember, you got to get internet separately, and that's the internet.
You got to factor that price in too.
Yeah.
And that's like $130. The internet we need to do all that stuff. And it's like, damn, I pay, still spending, but a little bit over $200 for cable, and I get all this and HBO Max for free. If I was to cut it, we're spending like almost $250, $260.
So yeah,
crazy.
Because I see Randy. You gotta have a decent HD 4K connection to see the Colts get whooped week after weekend. And
that's not gonna happen.
But
you wildin'.
Nah, I'm not gonna talk.
Yeah, Ron, I know you ain't talking. Who's I don't even know your quarterback.
Justin Fields.
Who's Justin Fields throwing that shit to? Bro, it's like I confuse the Niners quarterback and the Bears quarterback and the Eagles quarterback.
No, Justin Fields he throwing it to somebody. I don't know. Who is your team? Rocket them turned into a sports podcast.
Giants. I root for the Jets, but I'm a Giants fan all the way. So,
Bro, you about to get some Vikings
bro,
eggs at your
they're
crib.
just as bad, bro. They draft guys who get hurt all the time. So that's what they do. So.
I can name you one receiver, Randy. I don't know, Joe Blow Shabadoo. Who knows?
Oh man.
But yeah. But Nick is a hardcore Patriots fan, so.
Oh, bro, we got to end the show on that.
Nah.
That's blasphemous. We do not root. Rec League Podcast does not root for the Patriots or the Buccaneers by association.
My favorite receiver is Ray Finkel.
Ray Finkel.
I love Ray Finkel. It's a goddamn Dan Marino.
Finkel.
Hey, remember when I sent y'all those jerseys last week? They had a Ray Finkel jersey.
Fuck! Oh, that's so cool.
Should bought it.
I didn't take a picture of it. And at Lids Rocket, they had the movie nostalgia.
Yeah, they have like the Willie Beeman one.
Yeah, they had that one.
Willie Beeman.
Yep.
I want to
I've seen those.
Oh. We're going to wrap up the episode. Got off on a little tangent. What's the Rec League Podcast episode without some off-topic discussion? I'm going to come back. I'm going to wrap shit up. And Rocket going to be back in 2 weeks. And he going to pick the topic. Yo, the bar is influenced by Carter, Mathers, and Wallace. Just a couple of the architects that made the mold and all this. Marshall impacted the attitude, so did Steve Austin. Basic training instructors ain't like me, neither did guys at Laughlin. Outsiders' opinions of me ain't never been a concern though. Kevin Hart rap. On my today they gon' learn flow. I've learned my sense of humor is Ari Gold meets Jason Bateman, leaving all opposition at home. They wanna stay in, caged in. Flow leave them delighted, excited, frightened. Can never figure out just where the fuck my mind went. Your closest people do you dirty, have you living in agony. The company you keep can get you jumped like car battery. Keep them fucking eye sockets out of my pockets. Only a few are privy to the knowledge of where I lock it. I keep my circle smaller than them rubber bands on braces. But that circle spread across the globe and we live in different places. And chill until the next episode.